has determined pursuant to Public Act 100-0640 that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent at this time because of the COVID-19 health emergency. The meeting will be conducted virtually via Zoom. Public comments were to be submitted via email to Mary Medjo or by phone anytime before the meeting started at 6:30, but we are starting at 6:45 due to a finance meeting running late. Comments can also be sent to the library and will be read publicly. Donna, roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Which one? Sorry.
Marianne,
She's here. Marianne?
Marianne?
okay. Let me keep going. Maria Sincool,
Yes, here.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Present.
Judith.
Yes.
Okay, Marianne, are you there?
Well, she'll be here in a couple minutes, I'm sure.
We do have quorum. I did want to say that all votes that we conduct for this meeting will be conducted by roll call, and each member's vote on each issue shall be identified and recorded. So I apologize. So I already established, I said we have the quorum, but I was going to say Episcopal, you should have established quorum according to my notes, but it's okay. We have quorum. So I call for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Linda.
That.
Wait, say it again. Was it a second? Sorry, I made the motion. Moved by Linda. Roll call vote.
Chris,
Yes.
Maria Episcopal,
Yes.
Marianne, maybe not. Maria,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes. I will say that Marianne was present, but it appears that she's not on now, so she may have gotten disconnected, so we'll have to let her back in. But she was here at the meeting, just her technology was not working. So then next we'll move on to comments from the public. So again, public comments could be submitted via email to Mary or by phone. Also, public comments is not necessarily a dialogue between individuals and the board, but per the board bylaws, there shall be no expectation of immediate response on any matters raised during public comment. The board may, however, refer any matter of the public comment to the library director, library staff, another appropriate individual or agency, or may place the matter on a future meeting agenda for reply. Seeing as Mary, do we have any comments that were sent?
We do not.
Okay. And also seeing that we do not have anyone here from the public, we'll move on to the finance report by the treasurer, but she's not here.
Oh,
And I'm not seeing her in my waiting room. So I apologize. I'm
you
between
want me to
screens.
read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. For the month of February, we received $14,531.79 in revenue, which brings the year-to-date revenue to $5,788,154.35. Our expenditures in the month of February totaled $363,409.16, which brings the year-to-date expenditures to $3,824,393.61. And our disbursements totaled $174,140.57, plus an additional $202,278.27, which comprised our payroll for the month of February. So the grand total for February disbursements was $376,418.84. And the difference between the amount expended and the total disbursements is explained in the expense reconciliation report.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any, I was going to say, are there any comments, but we will discuss. We'll move on to the next item on our list, which is the consent agenda. So I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the meeting minutes and a treasurer's report as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Judith. Roll
Second,
call, sorry, say it again. Second by Linda. Roll call vote, Donna?
Chris,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Mary Ann, is not here. Maria Sinkhole,
Yes.
Linda,
yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'm sorry, Maria, did I miss, did you ask if anybody had questions regarding any of those reports?
No, not yet. I was going to ask, yes.
Okay, thank you.
no,
I
but do you,
Sometimes I wasn't just sure if I missed it, but
no, I was going to ask, but then I moved on. Did you have questions though, Linda?
no, I did not, but I just wanted to make sure no one else did.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
I apologize for my oversight. But we'll move on then to the next item on our list, which are reports.
Staff reports.
Correct. So director and staff reports.
Yeah.
Mary, you are amazing. You brought me to tears in your report. You know, going around and showing support for staff members all during this pandemic. I'm going to cry right now. What a great job you've done. Really.
Oh,
Thank you.
My
Yeah.
hat goes off to you
Yeah.
and how difficult it might have been. And I kept wondering, who does Mary talk to? Brooke.
Brooke. Yep. Every day, Brooke and Donna.
Brooke and Donna. But really, I mean, the job that you've done during these months is amazing. And the success stories, what a great idea, keeping people's spirits up. It's a model in my mind.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
love the foundation that Robert Woods Johnson Foundation World of Health Prize. That's a mouthful, but
Yes.
but I think that's awesome too, that
Yeah.
I hope we make it to be.
Just to make it this far is a pretty big deal. So I have high hopes that we'll keep going with it, but
Wonderful.
Right.
I would like to point out, I hope if you read the teen report this month, there's a really nice story in there about
Oh, the
teens.
stress relieving bags.
Well, yeah, that. But also the kids who stayed after the Role Play Guild program and talked about how they missed the library, that the library was their place to be.
Yes.
And one student said, whenever I was having a breakdown this year and I needed to talk something out, I would imagine I was talking to Courtney, who was one of our teen librarians.
Wow.
That's awesome. Well, don't we have a chat line?
She said, like, you don't know.
Yeah. Addison.
Courtney is the voice in this kid's head because Courtney was the only one who would ever ask how she was doing, or he was doing, I'm not sure.
Gee whiz.
Those are the stories that make us realize what we've missed this year.
Well,
And
Mary,
how
there's
important
no-
even these virtual programs
Yeah.
are to continue connecting at whatever level we can.
there is no doubt that your staff also make you look good. I mean, that the fact that each one of them is they are all so good in what they do, make your job, I'm sure, a little bit easier. You know, I mean, and I think everyone
Absolutely.
did for a great job, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I actually was impressed with every single one of the reports. There's not a one of them that you don't get the feeling that they are accomplishing so much in a month's time. So
Right.
kudos to everybody.
Correct. I agree.
Yes,
I mean,
everyone works so well as a team and everything is just always so smooth. and everyone is always giving their 100% effort and trying to make things just the very best they could be. And it's just, this is why the library is so great.
Yeah, exactly.
I will pass those very kind words on tomorrow to all of our staff. Thank you.
Oh, please do. Yeah, I can't say enough. You know, trophies, I don't know, what, trophies? Maybe, I don't know how to show how wonderful they are. Yeah, Yeah.
Just as, I just let Mary Ann in, so she's back.
good.
Okay,
everyone's
I'm
aware.
alive again.
Mary Ann, we're on reports.
Where are we at?
You're in staff.
Staff reports and director.
Okay, all right.
I did want to ask a question about community engagement and something that they're undertaking to bring candidates together with staff people and candidates together with board people. And just, you know, I think that's a great idea. I do think it's a great idea in terms of community engagement, is to get involved at the local political level. However, our bylaws do say that there are some political activities are prohibited. No officer or employee shall intentionally perform any prohibited political activity. Then it refers to what's prohibited. Soliciting votes on behalf of a candidate, initiating for circulation of any printed material, preparing for, organizing, participating in any political meeting.
So I think, Judith, for this one, because it's a forum, it's actually done by the League of Women Voters. So it's
Yes,
done
so it's
through them, not through us. We're just the site.
We won't be, nobody involved in this,
Correct.
neither the League of Women Voters or the staff will be advocating for any particular candidate or trying to promote their candidacy. It's
Right.
a way of providing information to voters.
Right, which is,
So all candidates from the school board were invited to participate. We won't be taking sides. We'll be very neutral. It's just a forum.
okay. And yes, which is great. That was the first part of their project. The second part of their project was to bring trustees, board members in with a candidate and introduce that candidate. That's where I don't know if it gets dicey. I just thought I'd bring it up, you know, just because of what our bylaws say.
Got it. I think because it's a forum and everyone, and it's nonpartisan too, so it's not partisan related politics, Judith. But you bring up a good
This is not
question.
the League of Women Voters, though. This
No,
is
I mean the people that are on that are part of this forum is what I'm saying. But I understand where your comment, your concern is that it's that it could be perceived or seen as, is what you're saying, right, Judith?
or even better, way down the road, let's change the bylaws.
Well, we can't do that currently to get it right at the
Right.
April election.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm kidding, Marianne. I'm just kidding. No, here we go.
I just want to clarify for, I think that was a poorly worded paragraph and it's in the adult services report, the AS
It's
report.
not community.
The goal is to introduce the candidates to the community, not for library board members to take an active role introducing other candidates in the program. So I think it was maybe not worded the best. The idea is to let candidates introduce themselves to the community. So I think maybe there was some poor word choice there that made it confusing.
What are the board members supposed to do?
So that's the candidates for the Library Board of Trustees can introduce themselves. Those of you up for reelection and those candidates not currently on the board that are running can introduce themselves to the community. If you are not up for reelection, I don't believe there's a role for you in this program. Does that clarify it?
No.
Oh,
No, but that's okay. I mean, if everybody's comfortable with it, I am too. As I said, I don't really understand why there's an expectation that nobody that works at a library and nobody that sits on a library board that can get politically involved. At the same time, you can't say, I'm a trustee and here's my candidate. That's what we're not allowed to do, as my understanding.
We're also nonpartisan on the library board.
So another reason we can't say, here's my candidate. Right?
Right. As for library employees, they can be involved politically. They just can't do it during working hours.
okay.
What they do
Right.
outside of work, we have no,
Nor on the
Concern.
property of the library.
correct.
Social, yeah, on social media. We will work with the library board trustees to introduce candidates to the community on social media. Mike is contacting board trustees in early March. So, yeah, so that,
What the plan was is just to there are, I believe, 6 people running for open seats on the library board. And we would introduce all 6 of those candidates if they choose to participate. We're not advocating vote for this guy and not that guy. We're saying these are the 6 who are available. This is a little bit of information about them, and then voters can make their own choice.
I understand. Okay, I get it.
It's just we're just giving our names, the people who are rerunning, just giving your names and why you're running. No one is advocating for one person or another. I think it's just another way to get names out there for people who might not know who's running for what, but no real political things are happening. It's just like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Everyone who's running is welcome. It's not like just a certain people, and no one is saying we want these people or we don't, if that's helpful.
So there's no endorsements.
Right, and no endorsement.
It's just strictly introductions.
Yeah. I mean, are you bringing printed? Okay, I'm gonna let this go.
No printed, nothing
No,
is
no,
printed,
and it's-
no one is passing out, no one is saying, yay, vote for me. It's just like, hi, my name is blah, 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 and here's why I'm running blah, 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 done. And then it moves on, it's not anything major.
And actually, there used to be a bigger forum at the village that they would do that to actually introduce all candidates that were running. So this isn't really any different than that. It's just simply introductions.
Except at the village, they were allowed to ask questions. It was, the chamber did it.
Right, but then there was another, they Italian Voters of America or something do a thing where we were introduced. And I don't think that was question and answer. I think that was just strictly introducing yourself.
There was one with the chamber that was called Meet the Candidates. The candidates were up there and people could call in and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ran by Dee and Chip Humes. I mean, that goes back a lot of years.
Sure. So again, that was not an endorsement
No,
there either.
it was just meet the candidates. Yeah.
The candidate, right.
Cool. Very important to do that. Don't forget to vote, everybody.
Early voting starts March
Judith.
22nd.
Do you want to tell us who you want to vote for?
I know.
You want me to tell you who I'm voting?
That is a topic for a separate day because we need to move on to our agenda. So, Judith, did you have any more questions though? I want to make sure that they
No,
ran.
thank you. Thank you for everybody's time.
No,
And
you're
patience.
welcome. So we'll move on to monthly statistics then, seeing if there aren't no questions related to the staff and director reports.
Okay, we're gonna touch this again with library cards. I'm really sorry to do this, but there has to be another way. I mean, now we're 28%. So is there any way that we could count families in Addison and what percentage? Maybe that's the difference, that people have 4 or 5 kids or 4 kids and only one person in the household has a library card. But that's not saying how effective we are as a community. So I really want to kind of just justify that number somehow.
You mean,
Can you answer this?
go ahead.
If it can be done, Brooke will know how to do it. I don't.
No, it can't.
Oh.
I'll
Not by
say
households?
that would be extremely difficult and very time consuming. I know another library did try and produce that and had it would take it would take me probably a full week to do that. So if you think that's the best use of my time, Mary will probably disagree with you.
No, I don't. And is this generally how other libraries, is this the same statistic that other libraries use? Would it be ridiculous to say, could we get that figure from some of the surrounding libraries and just see how we are? I mean, if this is the norm, then
Yeah, we're all required to report this number annually to the state, and that information is available. So we can get those numbers.
I mean, I don't want a whole lot of time and effort put into that either.
No, that would be easy to gather the annual number from other area libraries.
I would just like to see if, are we distressing over this number? It's happening everywhere. Then I would be fine. Then I would say, okay, but we're a really good library, and I acknowledge that. And that figure shows that we are not making as much of an impact on the community as I think we really are.
Well, there's a couple things there. We know there are some regulars who come in quite often to the library who live here in Addison, but they come in to use computers or to use the photocopier to do things that don't require them to get a library card. They don't check materials out and bring them home. So if they're only coming here to use a computer or to attend a program and they don't need a card, they may not have a card. We've tried to encourage those people to get cards. If you don't have a library card to use a computer, you have to get what's called a guest pass. And then you have to put in the number on your guest pass. And there's a little extra step to logging in each day when you come to use a computer. But no amount of convincing has been successful in getting some of those regulars to want to have a library card.
Why?
So there are some people that we're not counting in that regard.
Why would they not want one?
I will say, I think we are on the low side, but in the strategic plan we're going to bring to you next month, there will be some ideas of what we want to do to try to push that number higher. It is something maybe we need to set a goal and work toward.
Good.
I'm just having a hard time understanding why in a community like this, when we have so much to offer, and because you have to have a library card to do electronic downloads, you have to do, even if you were remotely using library resources, you have to have a library card. So we, and I know we're doing a really good job. That is not even in a question. But I feel like we could be doing maybe a good job for more people. So I appreciate the effort that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There was a library in the news. There was a library in the news who just went out on the street and handed library cards out on the street. I thought that's an interesting idea.
Well, but how do they know where they lived?
Well, you have to ask them, right? Like the grocery store or something. But I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting.
I mean, like selling Girl Scout cookies, we could be.
Yeah. Yep. Set up a table.
And then you deal with the confrontation of, I live in unincorporated, so, you know, could you write me a check for $450 or something?
Yeah.
Well, we're
Yeah.
going to get to that in our new actions.
I know that. So that leads us perfectly into our new business item. So if we have,
Okay.
are there any other questions related to the monthly statistics? No.
I thought you liked that segue.
Yes. So seeing that there are no additional questions, we will move on to new business. We do have 3 items on here. So our first action item is non-resident library card program participation. So I make the motion to continue to charge non-resident renters 15% of their monthly rent and to use a tax bill method to determine the fee for non-resident property owners who wish to obtain a non-resident card from the Addison Public Library. That was a motion.
Second,
I really need to understand this a little bit better.
Okay. So second by Mary Ann. Okay.
okay, now the discussion, I think,
Discussion.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're a non-resident renter. What does that mean?
No, they're, it means they live in unincorporated Addison, but they don't own the property. They rent the property from someone else.
In unincorporated areas. Okay,
Correct.
got it.
If you're a renter in the village within our municipal boundaries, then you can get a library card just like anyone else.
Okay.
If you
so
live
the
in the
non-resident-
unincorporated area.
And maybe non-resident, that kind of seemed a little redundant, but okay.
Does anybody know how much that would turn out to be? Approximately.
So it really depends on the home, correct?
The
Yes.
rent.
Residents.
Mhm.
I've heard people paying up to $280 a year, and it really varies on, yeah.
If you look at your own tax bill, it'll show you what you pay annually to the library, and it should be comparable. It's the same formula that local residents pay.
Oh, okay, I get
It's
it.
based on the same rate,
Mhm.
I get it.
which is, I think, the most fair way to do it.
Yeah, I do too. I didn't get a chance to go to the Rails website. I know there would have been a comparison kind of thing there, right? But yeah, it sounds good.
Are there any other discussions or questions related to this? No? Okay. So seeing as there's no discussion, I made the motion and Linda, you second it, correct?
I
roll
did.
call.
No, I don't think it,
Mary Ann
yeah.
did.
Sorry, Mary Ann seconded it, so roll call vote.
Chris,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
Maria,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll move on to the next action item, which is the parking lot reconstruction project. So I make a motion to authorize Mary Medjo, the director, in consultation with the library board president, myself, to close the library if necessary for a limited period of time during the parking lot reconstruction project.
So
Seconded.
moved.
Yeah.
So,
First.
so second by Chris, right? Motion by Maria. Discussion? Mary?
this project is not easy. I want to tell everybody, it is not easy. It's not
It's not.
convenient for anybody, but it's a necessary thing to do.
Phase 2, I think, will be more difficult for us here at the
Right.
library.
Yeah.
It's going to be very challenging. Parking will be very limited. And there won't be a direct path from where you are able to park to get into the library. The engineer at the village has already contacted me to see if I have suggestions of where we can put handicap parking when we're in phase 2, because there really isn't any space close to our front door but we have to have something. So we're still sorting that out. We'll figure out something. But there may be, I don't think we need to close down for the whole month. It'll be inconvenient, but it won't be impossible. I think we can get through it. Phase 2.
And the weather
but there
will be
might-
much nicer.
Right. There might be a day or two where something specific is happening that for safety reasons, we decide maybe we shouldn't be open that day. And I can't even predict what that might be. I just thought it might be prudent to discuss this with you, and we will get regular updates from the village. Greg has been attending the planning meetings with the village and the contractors representing the library. So we have a voice and a seat at the table for all of this. And if I find out that something's happening, what I propose is I would contact Maria, say, hey, I think we should close. This is what's happening, and without having to call a special board meeting and convene all of you. It should be, if all goes well, wrapped up completely by the beginning to the middle of the month of June. June 10th, I think, is the tentative date to have the whole project finished.
Did you have any ideas about the best way to communicate this to patrons so that they kind of know what's coming down the road, you know, after the pandemic and everything? And obviously they're going to be like, oh, what's next? And but, you know, if they're communicated to in a very clear way, like where you can park, and this is what's going to be the toughest, and we're not going to close down completely unless we absolutely have to, you know, all that stuff. Does that go out
Right.
in an email or?
We've been doing it by social media. That's the most direct way we have to communicate with people. I know our post has been shared several times in different community groups. So I think word is getting out there.
Great. Great.
I will also say, I don't know if I put this in here or not. I have talked to John Langton at District 4, and he has granted us permission to have staff park behind Indian Trail. They have extra parking available between Indian Trail and Army Trail. So especially when we get into phase 2 and there's a lot more limited parking available close to the library, we will encourage staff who are physically able to walk from over there to park back there, or in the village has also secured some parking at St. Paul's that can be available for our staff if needed. So we'll try to push staff back as much as we can and reserve the parking closer to the building for as many patrons as possible.
Good.
And yes, hopefully the weather will be much nicer then.
Yeah.
Might be nice to have a little bit of a walk outside.
Right. Right.
Maybe we can offer them our
I
tote bags
also-
for free.
What was that?
I
Maybe
also,
we can offer our
and
tote
Brooke,
bags for
Brooke
free.
has, yeah. Brooke has secured a tentative loan of a remote drive-up book drop for us from the Oak Park Public Library. They have one in storage that they're not currently using. That the village has agreed to let us put where the drop box for water bills and village documents is right now, behind our library along Army Trail Road.
Next to the
So that
mailbox?
during the week, during the weeks that our drive-up return is not available, we'll have that portable box for people to return materials in, and then staff will just have to go out and empty that. Fortunately, our head of guest services, Jenny, has experience with remote book drops from previous library jobs she's had, and is very much on top of how we can organize staff and schedule staff to empty that throughout the day.
Great.
So again, teamwork is what will get us through this. And yes, we will have some patrons complaining, but it will be so nice when it's done. I think if they can just get through that, they'll really appreciate what we have when we're finished. One thing they're really focused on is improving the experience for pedestrians around Village Campus. Every day we see people who walk to Jewel or to other businesses over at Green Meadows and then are walking back to the neighborhood sort of behind the library, south of the library. And there's no good sidewalk between Army Trail and Lake Street. So they're cutting through the parking lot and cars are driving too fast sometimes through there. It really seems dangerous sometimes. We see families with children and babies and strollers and people pushing grocery carts, and it's going to work a whole lot better for those folks. So
Wonderful.
I'm excited about what's coming.
Good.
I don't know if people are aware that people try to use that as a through street.
Yeah.
Oh,
It-
yeah.
People that don't
all
want
day
to
long, all day
take
long.
time to go through the light at Kennedy Drive.
Yep.
There will also be a couple stop signs between Army Trail and Lake Street as you're coming through. I think the first one will be about where the library patio is right now, the corner of our building. And then they'll have to stop one more time before they get to Lake Street. So that should slow everybody down and some of those people may quit cutting through altogether.
Especially if we have somebody standing there writing tickets. It really bothers me because it is extremely dangerous.
Okay, Maria, I think we need a vote, right?
Correct, that's where I was going. So, seeing as there's no more discussion on this, we'll do a roll call vote. Donna, please.
Chris,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes. So next is just a discussion item, not an item that requires any action, correct, Mary? It's related to the pandemic response and library operations. So Mary, would you like to
Yeah, things are status quo. We're not too far different from where we were a month ago. Slow but steady in terms of the people coming into the library. I think we've seen a little bit of an increase in the number of people here. So I think we're okay for now. I had hoped that maybe we could start looking at expanding our hours back to our regular service hours. But I don't think we're quite there yet. The evening hours still tend to be very, very slow. We also have some staff positions we need to fill that we've held vacant for now, I think before we fully ramp up to closing at 9 p.m. And my best guess is that we should probably wait until after the parking lot project to expand our hours further.
Yep. I agree.
But we have had several staff who've been successful in getting the vaccine, and that's exciting. We're still waiting to see whether the state will include library workers in phase 1C, but I'm hopeful. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Sorry, I'm like trying to read the other lengthy notes for the next item that we're going to. So the next item on our list, thank you, Mary, for the update, is the closed session. So typically during closed session, we would go into closed session with some exceptions. The exceptions to the Illinois Open Meetings Act permits us to go into closed session, especially when it pertains to section 5 ILCS 120-2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee to determine its validity. So what I'm making a motion to is for us, sorry, let me backtrack. So I recommend as my action is to approve a motion to move into a closed session as permitted by section 5 ILCS 120/2C1 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee to determine its validity. So I ask for a motion to enter into our closed session.
So moved.
Moved by Robert. Say it again.
Second? Or do we need a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
second by Judith.
Yeah.
Discussion? No. I need a roll call vote in order for the motion to carry.
And the motion is exactly, oh,
For
to
us
go
to,
closed
correct.
session.
Correct. For us
Yeah.
to go into closed session.
Got it. Okay, sorry.
Chris,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Maria Sinclair.
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Judith.
Yes.
Motion passes. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all non-board members into the Zoom waiting room. I'm going to stop this recording and initiate another recording. So I'm going to stop.